For early access plus exclusive content, facilitated discussions, live one-on-one Q&As, and more, become a patron at patreon.com/BrucePointset.
Yeah, I think that some of the pros of kind of traditional storytelling like this is that it sets up a really easy binary of good and bad, that folks, no matter where they are in their moral development, can understand sort of there's the good guys and there's the bad guys. Um, and we can kind of see that in a lot of the ways that um, ethics is performed in really old books like the Bible and like in the Torah and such, that there's sort of a good person that enables these good things to happen, and then there's a bad person, and the reader can kind of place themselves in the story there. And it seems like good things should happen to good people and bad things should happen to bad people. But as our moral development sort of engages, these stories just end up falling a little bit more flat because we know that's not how the world really works.
Yeah, so, just to reiterate, when you're talking about pros, to that it is this kind of binary makes it easy for people to grasp and to get into a story and put themselves into the story. But the flip side, of course, is that people are complicated. Situations are complicated, right? And I feel like, the flip side of the binaries is that we're so easy to try and, adopt this idea of, okay, well, this is how, if I've learned how to process what a hero looks like, within, say, in the context of the US or US media, who does that hero mostly look like? Some white dude, right?
Yeah.
Like, you have the proliferation of these stories where it makes it, new binaries might be easy to grasp, but they don't capture the whole picture necessarily, and they're, often a reflection of the biases of whoever's writing.
Yeah, I think the other con, I would say, of doing storytelling like this, in addition to exemplifying whatever biases the author might have, is that it usually doesn't do a good job of telling the backstory. It doesn't really explain why someone is doing what they're doing. And so oftentimes there's like a villain and they're just evil and terrible, but you don't understand like what happened to them, what they've been through, why they might be seeking vengeance or justice or whatever, that like in their eyes, like that's what they want to do. I think, there's so many more complicated stories that we can tell that do a better job, I think, than just this really simple, good versus evil story.
Yeah, like it really it limits our ability to understand the world. Like, if we only think, even the idea of a hero and a villain, it ignores this idea of like people evolve. You could start out as a quote unquote hero and become a villain based on the systems of play, based on a variety of factors. But also, we talk about dismantling oppressive systems. You can frame any side of, if you put things into a binary, you can put it on two sides and spin it as one side as a hero, one side as a villain. We're watching that right now, where you get some of the more, I like to think most of life is gray, more complicated, but sometimes some of the things that we have, decided, like it wasn't that long ago where we were like, Nazi equals villain. It was a pretty safe one. Now it's, in 2021, and even that's not a given.